My name is Frank Hatch. I'm almost 80 years old, and I started out my growing-up life studying modern dance. I became an instructor of modern dance in University, Brigham Young first of all, and then later at University of Wisconsin, where I came in contact for the first time with readings from Buckminster Fuller. The book that caught my attention, first of all, was a book called Vertical is Life, Horizontal is Death, in which Bucky Fuller was trying to explain that the more obvious the need for engineering in the construction of this reading, I came in contact with the idea of using materials, straight lines made of materials, two-dimensional types of materials. It was possible to, by mathematical determination of the angles and the distances between corners, to make a system that covers a sphere being the most simple and at the same time the most rigid form in nature. So towards the middle of my career, I received a Social Science Research Council grant to go to Brazil to document and study the dance forms in Bahia de Salvador, essentially around the capoeira movement, with the explanation that we didn't know enough about the people who came from Africa, who formed that culture in Bahia of basically it's a martial art, and yet at the same time accompanied by music and singing. And while I was there, I remembered my reading about geodesic domes and went to the information library of the American consulate in Bahia and got the mathematics of making domes. And I found a big supply of cardboard that had been used to transport refrigerators. And with these big pieces of cardboard, I fashioned a geodesic dome of probably, my memory of it now was about 3 meters diameter. And took it camping on the beach north of Bahia, covered all of the openings, all of the joints with candle wax, and took my family and spent about 2 weeks going through rainstorms and windstorms and living in this little geodesic dome structure, hut, you would call it. And based on that experience, I determined that when I got back to America, first thing I was going to do is find a little piece of land. I was thinking in economy. And on this little piece of land, I was going to build a geodesic dome and be no longer living in miserable little apartment houses as I had done since I got married and started my life and family, moving from one university campus to another. And so I did. When I got back to America, I landed a job at University Degrees, but it shoots squarely into the living room here through the winter, heating these walls so that we have, anytime we have an hour of sun, we have a day of very comfortable temperatures in this house. And in the summer, the sun is at a much higher angle, and the heat is shunted off by the slanting solarium, and then we have openings in the solarium at the top and at the bottom, which can cause a conduction cycle of moving air, which makes this this dome home very comfortable year-round. Doesn't matter what the weather is. And when it gets warm in here, we just have to open this door, which is part of a airlock, so that in the wintertime you come into the airlock, shut the door, and then come in, and you don't bring the cold with you. And in the summertime, it becomes a big air conditioner between this door and the door in the kitchen. Then it had the idea of a round space like this causes the air to make a convection motion. In other words, it makes two big circles on each side in all directions, so that you always have fresh air in this house. And then I built with the idea that this second floor stairway was to lead up to the top of the third floor level, and then it was to go around the corner and then have a stairway that went outside. But I was building this part here alone, and the biggest piece of steel design of the interior. We made this as a banco and a big table. We can see around 12 people at this table, and we often have nice big dinners with friends and family. This is first, second, third, and the fourth level. And it's made on a flat piece of paper, but with very specific distances for each one of the struts. And when those distances are put together in a combination, you get a curving surface, as you see here. This would be one of the 5 pieces that go around to make a geodesic dome. I think we can show you right over in this corner. We have a pentagon. In other words, 5 triangles. However, over here we have 6 triangle forms, and the dome is made out of alternating hexagons and pentagons, and it truly is, without much argument, the most stable when complete, when you've completed a half circle or a full sphere, the most stable form that is possible to build in terms of using as little material as needed to enclose that kind of space and still having it be the strongest form. It was always, it's always an amazement to me as I've built several of these now, to discover on the first coming together of a whole circle that has struts that go to the middle and struts that go around and form well, it's a pentagonal circle, of how stable it is as soon as all of the parts are come in order to do the house. And then, in order to keep water from coming in the windows, we made a little hood that protected the windows from having water come in. And sealed in the solarium, so that we have about a 15-foot space between the dome and the exterior solarium, which catches the heat, maintains it, and heats up the walls of the inside. Square walls that come to a right angle connection. And feeling restricted in my spirit, it felt like always I was being suffocated by the space. And the opposite of that is so in a dome. everywhere you look and everywhere you move, you have a sense of being able to flow and continue on when you get to the end of a flowing line, and it turns not in a right angle, but turns in an angle that your body can follow, and you can have a sense of freedom, of space in a geodesic dome. So here we are in the dome in Santa Fe.